Skinny Hardaway Southern T back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, if you could, do your boy a solid. Hit that thumbs up for your boy when you roll on in, man. I don't know if we gonna be here. We gonna be here a minute. Y'all ain't gonna lie to y'all. We gonna be here a minute because I want to make sure that I run down this the right way, right? We got an ongoing Twitter beef right now, right? We gonna start with that Twitter beef, y'all, because that's going on right now. So ain't no telling, right? Ain't no telling if they still going or they stop. This literally like live in the making, right? But then we gonna have us a Shakur Stevenson conversation as well, right? Shakur Stevenson has been under a bit of a microscope, right, to say the least, with everything that's going on in the 135-pound division, right? A lot being said, right? Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, Vasil Lomachenko versus Devin Haney. You know what I mean? Got that division jumping, right? It's kind of leaving everybody to wonder what is Shakur Stevenson going to do next. Exactly right. At least me myself, right, got me wondering what Shakur Stevenson going to do next. If Shakur Stevenson, right, wants to stay in the mix and he don't want to get left, by his peers being Tank and Devin Haney, right? What is he gonna do next? Well, I think we got something going right here, right? We got one of the best options for Shakur Stevenson, right? Jermaine Ortiz. Shakur Stevenson has acknowledged Jermaine Ortiz, right? Jermaine Ortiz has acknowledged Shakur Stevenson, right? You got Shakur Stevenson, who basically right with not with the utmost disrespect, right? Shakur Stevenson straight up said, man, I don't respect him and I beat the fuck out of Jermaine Ortiz, right? So we go get into that. But man, Shakur Foster and Joe Cordina, right? The 130-pound division, right? We're gonna start at the 130-pound division first. Shakur Foster and Joe Cordina, right? They on Twitter right now and they are trading words. Shakur Foster just received his WBC belt by defeating Ray Vargas, right? In a 12-round decision. Shakur Foster had been Shakur Foster, he had been the WBC silver champion for about 2 to 3 years, right? So he finally got his shot at a vacant WBC belt, in which, ironically, right, Shakur Stevenson was the one that vacated, right? But hold on for a second. Let me say what's up to the people in the building, man. Let me not be rude. Let me not be rude, man. Let me not be rude, because we ain't rushing this, man. We got time. We ain't got nothing but time. Let me not be rude. What's good? What's good, quick? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, quick. Glad you could make it, Queen. TWT in the MP. What the fuck? What's good, Brody? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, K. Glad you can make it. TWT is in the field. We got in this John. Who else we got in this thing? Josh Sanders. What's good, King? TWT in the building. Love seeing these TWT. Back to saying YouTube on fire, man. I'm back to saying YouTube on fire. I apologize for not saying YouTube on fire when y'all come in the building. I digress, right? I digress. Who else we got in here? A1 Hoop Zone. What's good, A1? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Brody. TWT. Appreciate y'all sliding through this thing, right? But I digress, right? It's 70 y'all in the building. I know more than 70 y'all been through here, right? Because it was like 9 of y'all before I even said a word. I don't know how it was like 9 of y'all in here before I said a word, right? And then it was 70 y'all by the time I got in here. However, that worked, right? But y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Y'all get your boy spinning in that algo. I'm gonna do my best, right, to get this thing back, spinning the how it used to be, right? But now that I said what's up to everybody in the building, right? Everybody that ain't afraid to comment, right? Appreciate y'all sliding through. AP in the building, 13 likes. If this your first time, don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button as well. We on the road to 4,000, right? But yeah, this Twitter beef, Joe Cordina or Shakur Foster, both fighters are currently champions in the 130 pound division, right? So this ain't just all for naught, right? This is a real you know what I mean, beef a real thing and a fight that could happen, right? But you got O'Shaq and Foster. He went to Twitter. Well, you got Joe Cordina, right? Matter of fact, don't even take my word for it. We about to go to this thing live right now, right? We about to go to a live right now. We gonna read these tweets out live. I'm gonna show them to y'all as well, so y'all can see this. But this has been going on about 20 to 30 minutes at this time, right? Hold on, let's get right. This been going on about 20 to 30 minutes, right? At this time, let me get this virtual background off, right? So we about to get into the live tweets. Here we go. Let's get straight to it. O'Shaq and Foster and Joe Cordina, man. Both 130 pound champions, right? I'm gonna show it to y'all. Y'all know how I like to do it. Joe Cordina. This is what Joe Cordina had to say. Right, this is where the tweet came from, right? This is how it all started. Somebody came on Twitter, right? The fans, right? This is how you know this fight is a must happen, right? When you get fans, you know, to get involved. A fan posted this, right? And Joe Cordina responded. And O'Shaq and Foster had seen Joe Cordina respond. So O'Shaq and Foster responded, which is how we ended up here. We gonna get into the Shakur Stevenson portion of this thing in just a second, right? But let's get into it. This is how it started, right? Somebody posted, right? Somebody posted on this day, Joe Cordina became the champion of the world with the best knockout you'll ever see, likely. And it was Joe Cordina knockout. It was Joe Cordina knockout over Ogawa, right? It was Joe Cordina when he knocked out Ogawa, right? Somebody posted on there, we still want Joe Cordina versus O'Shaq and Foster for title unification. Joe might be more of a Hollywood actor than a fighter, Broadway Joe, right? So this is how it started. A fan said this, right? Not O'Shaq and Foster. Pablo Escobar, what's good, Pablo? Let me drop the stamp for my guy, Pablo, what's good? What's good, Pablo? Appreciate you sliding through. Right, you got right, a fan posted that, not O'Shaq and Foster, right? He said we still want Joe Cordina versus O'Shaq and Foster for title unification. He might be more of a Hollywood actor than the fighter. You had Joe Cordina who commented on that. Joe Cordina commented on that. Joe Cordina said, "Oh my God, will you ever stop, you bum? I told you at the start of the week, I'm away on vacation with my kids. And when I'm back, things will be sorted. Surely, embarrassing a grown man begging for a fight and not even for yourself." You know what I mean? That's what Joe Cordina had to say, right, in regards to a fan asking for a fight with Joe Cordina. I mean, with O'Shaq and Foster. So a fan asked for a fight with O'Shaq and Foster. Joe Cordina went at a fan basically and called him broke and said it's embarrassing that he keep asking for a fight for another man and not even himself. So that's no way to talk to a fan, right? If you're Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina is currently the 130-pound WBO champion. You know what I mean? So this is a fan asking for a fight that he want to see. And what Joe Cordina said is, I'm on vacation. When I get back, things will be sorted. And then he went at the man personally and said, you know, how broke you got to be begging for a fight from another man, right? O'Shaq and Foster saw that. O'Shaq and Foster saw that, right? And this was 57 minutes ago. You can see, right? 57 minutes ago. O'Shaq and Foster saw that, right? O'Shaq and Foster saw that, right? Hold on for a second. So O'Shaq and Foster saw what Joe Cordina said to the fan. And I guess that triggered O'Shaq and Foster. So when O'Shaq and Foster saw that, O'Shaq and Foster got right to it, right? Because O'Shaq and Foster had said previously, right? And I made an EP about it. O'Shaq and Foster said previously that he wanted, to unify with Joe Cordina, right? he straight up said, after his last fight, he wanted to fight all the champs, and unification is what he looking for, right? So after Joe Cordina, he basically patronized the fan, right? He basically got on the fan for wanting to see a fight. He told the fan, I'm gonna handle that, when I get to it, and you must be broke. You begging for a fight for another man, right? So Shakur Foster saw that, and this what Shakur Foster had to say in regards. Now, no, this was an hour ago, right? 30 minutes ago, an hour ago. This was an hour ago. Shakur Foster had to say this. Shakur Foster said, boy, if your scare ass don't stop talking about you on vacation game, it's been over a month. We ain't heard one thing from your team. You on this app talking tough. I'm trying to stretch something in real life. And mind you, I got the WBC. You got to get tested. I know. He said, and mind you, I got the WBC. You got to get tested. I know. Right? So that's what Shakur Foster had to say, to Joe Cordina. Basically, he's saying stop capping, right, on the internet, talking tough. Joe Cordina, he came back. Joe Cordina, he came back, right, and he quoted that tweet, right. This was at 9. This was at 10:09 a.m. right. You see 10:09 a.m. 6'5", right. This you see 10:09 a.m. 6'5". Joe Cordina came back and he quoted, right. I see you soon, you little bitch. Right. So Joe Cordina said, you know what? Fuck it. Right. He said, I see you soon, you little B word, right? What's good, Tay D? What's good, Tay? Yeah, they beefing right now, Tay D. This live on Twitter right now, right? So Joe Cordina came back and said, I see you soon, you little B word, right? And then you see Shakur Foster. This was 47 minutes ago, right? You see Shakur Foster 47 minutes ago, right? Shakur Foster, he come back and he say, it sound good, tough guy. We know that ain't you. He put the cat emoji, right? We all know what that means, right? He said, keep my belt safe and tell your team reach out. We've reached out several times. It's like, so what Shakur Foster is saying that Joe Cordina is ducking him. Joe Cordina acting like, they can't pick up the phone, right? So Shakur Foster like, Joe, pick up the phone, Joe. I can't even see how long I've been on this live stream right now. But Shakur Foster like, Joe, pick up the phone, Joe. He's saying Joe on the internet talking tough to fans, right? I don't know why Joe got tough with their fan like that, right? But Joe on the internet, talking tough to fans, right? He like, all you got to do is pick up the phone, right? And then as soon as Shakur Foster said something, Joe came right back and said, I see you soon a little bit, right? And Shakur Foster win. He was like, it sounds tough, right? But we know that ain't in you. He said, keep my belt safe and tell your team to reach out because we've reached out several times. Tay D, what's good, Tay D? Let me drop the stamp for my guy, Tay D. DP Rocker, what's good, DP Rocker? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, DP. Glad you can make it, man. What's good, DP? Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy, brother. It's your first time. If you could, not made your last time. Could you hit that subscription button as well? We talk this good boxing every single day. Boxing, MMA, baseball, football, all that good stuff. Southern T, TWT, and sports. We ain't here having us a boxing conversation real quick. Right? We going through this live Twitter beat that Shakur Foster and Joe Cordina, having right now, right? And then you had Shakur Foster, he followed this tweet, right? He followed that tweet, right? He followed that tweet and he said, don't let them fool you. I'm a free agent. If they really wanted their fight to be made, there's no roadblocks and we can do it ASAP, right? So that's Shakur Foster basically saying, right, there's nothing standing in between the fight with me and Joe Cordina, right? Don't let them fool you. I'm a free agent. If they really wanted to fight, the fight can be made. There's no roadblocks and we can do it ASAP, right? So that's basically you got Shakur Foster laying his cards on the table, right? You basically got Shakur Foster laying his cards on the table. So Joe Cordina said he on break. So basically, Joe Cordina is saying that he on break right now, but when he get off break, we'll see about it. So we just want to, we just need to keep our eyes open on that fight because that's a good fight, right? I think I believe in the talent of Joe Cordina. I believe in the talent of Joe Cordina. He said, okay, so who Shaq fight next and who Joe got? We need to push this. Neither of them have a fight right now. Joe Cordina nor Shaq and Foster have a fight right now, and we do need to push it. I've been pushing this right for a second. Now, I ain't made a multitude of videos on it, right? But I did, talk about it after Shaq and Foster's last fight. He said he wanted to unify with the champs. He called out Joe Cordina's name, personally, right? He mentioned him by name as a fight of interest because Joe Cordina, based now, actually, Eddie Hearn is the one that started this, right? I did a Southern TEP. Eddie Hearn is really the one that started up this Joe Cordina versus Shaq and Foster thing, right? After Joe Cordina had got his fight back, BC was good, BC. Appreciate you sliding in this thing. Shout out my brother BC, TWT in the building. After Joe Cordina's last fight, right? Eddie Hearn, like he offered this free smoke. Like ain't nobody asked Eddie Hearn for this. Ain't nobody question him about this, right? Eddie Hearn free smoke volunteered Joe Cordina to Shaq Foster. He said he felt like that Joe Cordina is the best fighter in the division, and he said he felt like Joe Cordina would beat Shaq Foster today. He said he felt like he would beat him easily. So that's when Shaq and Foster started. Well, if you feel like he'll beat me easily, put him in the ring, right? And we could make this happen because I'm available. And again, like Shaq and Foster said, this was right after Shaq and Foster's fight. Joe Cordina and Shaq and Foster, they both had a fight around the same time. Both guys were victorious. If we remember correctly, right, Joe Cordina was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson, but he had injured his hand or something like that, and then he had to vacate his belt. Right, and then so he ended up getting injured, and he had to vacate his belt, but that was the IBF belt. Now Joe Cordina, if I'm not mistaken, he came back and he got the WBO belt. So now it's him and Shaq and Foster. So there's a little history behind Shaq and Foster and Joe Cordina because Joe Cordina and Shakur Stevenson were on the collision course for the WBC, which we know that that Shakur Stevenson doesn't have anymore because he's not in the division. Shaq and Foster is now the rightful owner of said belt at the 130 pound division. So now Eddie Hearn spoke up about, he said Shakur was the best guy in the division, but after Shakur, right, it was Joe Cordina. He said Shaq and Foster wasn't on the level of Joe Cordina, which is why you got Shaq and Foster pressing for this fight the way that he is. I'm feeding my face, y'all. Which is why you got Shaq and Foster having the energy that he got for Joe Cordina that he does. It's really Eddie Hearn's fault because Eddie Hearn is the one that said that Joe Cordina would easily beat Shaq and Foster. So Shaq and Foster is saying, if you feel like he easily beats me, then put him in the ring. I got a belt. He got a belt. Let's make it happen. And you clearly see these guys aren't the most fond of one another right now on Twitter, right? And this happened today on Twitter, less than an hour ago. If you go to Joe Cordina's or if you go to Shaq and Foster's Twitter right now, you'll see this dispute and you'll see this spat right now. You know what I mean? The last thing Shaq and Foster said was, don't let them fool you. I'm a promotional free agent, meaning there's no roadblocks in the way of this fight. So if it's a fight that they wanted, it's a fight that we could make. Basically, what Shaq and Foster is saying is, I'm the B side, right? He said, I'm the B side. I understand that. Let's make it happen. Roll your teeth. What's good, beautiful? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Glad you can make it. Queen, glad you can make it. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Was good. But Joe Cordina, and Shaq and Foster, they on Twitter right now. You know what I mean? With the shits, y'all can check it out. I'm about to read these tweets one more time for the people that's just getting in, right? Live in the flesh, so y'all don't got to take my word for it, right? If you want to see it, you can head on over there. And this is an ongoing thing on Shakur Foster still, you know what I mean, tweeting out, right? But a fan had said to Joe Cordina, right? It was a post. The Zone posted a post, and it showed Joe Cordina's knockout over Ogawa that won him the belt initially, right? A fan commented on their post, and he told Joe Cordina, "I still want to see you fight Shakur Foster." AB, the IT was good. AB, appreciate you sliding through this thing, man. TWT in the building. AB. But a fan asked Joe Cordina, he said, we still want to see you fight Shakur Foster for unification in the 130-pound division because both of these guys are champs. So the fight makes perfect sense, right? A fan, right? A random fan said, I want to see you fight Shakur Foster because that's a fight I want to see. The fan went on to say that Joe Cordina is more of a Hollywood actor than he is a boxer. What Joe Cordina told this fan was, hold your horses. I'm on vacation. We go make this fight, when I get off vacation. And then he told the fan, you must be broke because you always talking to me about a fight for another man. This is not even going to benefit you. He basically called the fan broke and said, what you care about that fight so much for, and it don't benefit you. But it actually do benefit the fan because he's the fan. Big Dog Willie, TWT in the building. Love seeing these TWTs. So Joe Cordina basically got wrong with a fan for asking to see a fight that he wanted to see, right? Well, Shakur Foster saw Joe Cordina and the fan going back and forth, right? So Shakur Foster took it upon himself to comment on it, right? Shakur Foster said, you on this internet and you talking real tough, right? But we all know that's not true. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let y'all see it. So y'all don't gotta take my word for it. Joe Cordina, this is the fan. This is how it started, right? The fan asked Joe Cordina, right? It's a video of Joe Cordina knocking out Ogawa. See the video of Joe Cordina knocking out Ogawa, right? The fan posted on the video, we still want to see Joe Cordina versus Shakur Foster for title unification. Joe might be more of a Hollywood actor than a fighter. Joe Cordina saw what the fan said, right? And Joe Cordina basically ripped the fan apart. Joe Cordina said, oh my God, will you ever stop, you bum? I told you at the start of the week, I'm away on vacation with my kids, and when I'm back, things will be sorted. Surely you can't be short of money embarrassing. You're a grown man begging for a fight and not even for yourself. That's what Joe Cordina had to say, you know what I mean, to Boxing Their Values, right? Who's a fan, right? Shakur Foster saw the tweet. Shakur Foster took it upon himself. He said, boy, if your scary ass don't stop talking about you on vacation game, it's been over a month. We ain't heard one thing from your team. You on this app talking tough. I'm trying to stretch something in real life. And mind you, I got the WBC. You know you got to get tested. I know. Joe Cordina, he kept it short and sweet, right? He kept it short and sweet with him. After Shakur Foster said that, Joe Cordina said, I'll see you soon, you little bitch, right? So we clearly see that it's some bad blood there, right? And then Shakur Foster, followed up with that. Shakur Foster said, it sound good, tough guy. We know that ain't true. Keep my belt safe and tell your team to reach out. We've reached out several times, right? That's Shakur Foster. And then Shakur Foster followed that tweet up. Shakur Foster followed that tweet up by saying, don't let them fool you. I'm a free agent. If they really wanted to fight, the fight would be made. There's no roadblocks, and we can do it ASAP. So basically, you got Shakur Foster, saying that I'm open for a fight. I ain't understanding in the way. I've been reaching out for months. What's up? You know what I mean? What's up? You know what I mean? So this is going on, live, right now on Twitter between the 130-pound champs. And I think this is good for boxing. I like that. We need to put the pressure on these guys to actually fight. Quick win this thing tripping. We need to put the pressure on these guys to actually fight, right? He said, beat nigga talk. Yeah, right, DP, you know what I mean? I'm on vacation. You know what I mean? I don't know how to feel about it. See, Tate said, nigga, because I'm a fan, I want to see that. Joe, Big Tex. What's good, Big Tex? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, King. Y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy, TWT. Good, Big Tex. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. We talking about this Foster-Cordina and this Shakur Foster situation, right? It smell like a duck somewhere in the water, right? It smell like a duck somewhere in the water. I do like Foster-Cordina's game, right? I like the way he fight, but if he trying to avoid, this Shakur Foster smoke, then I cannot support it. I do not support it. I do think that Foster-Cordina is, what you call a good boxer puncher, right? I do think he's a formidable opponent. This ain't a foregone conclusion, right? Just talking about the schematics of the fight, right? The X's and O's of it, this ain't a foregone conclusion, you know what I mean, for Shakur Foster, right? This is going to be, Shakur Foster is going to have to go and get this one. Now, I tell you this, I thought Ray Vargas was going to be a tough fight for Shakur Foster, right? And Shakur Foster made that fight look easy, right? Now, I think Foster-Cordina is going to be, a tough test for Shakur Foster. It's still to be seen exactly what Shakur Foster can do with Foster-Cordina, right? But I tell you this, I ain't gonna call nobody a duck in this thing, right? Because I do got respect for Cordina game. I ain't gonna call nobody a duck just yet, because there's still more to be seen, right? But it is looking like that Shakur Foster is more of the one that want this fight right now than Foster-Cordina. You know what I mean? Type deal. Because you see one guy pressing forward, right? And then you see another guy sidestepping, right? Maybe going, doing a little backpedaling, right? Maybe doing a little stalling, right? Shakur Foster said we can make this fight next. And I don't like the aspect either, right? How, Foster-Cordina brought up the money aspect, right? Y'all are prize fighters. Y'all both champions. We know both of y'all want to get paid. Both of y'all want the money, right? Now, whether that's a random fan or rather that's, somebody that's supposed to work with Shakur Foster or what, I don't know. But it sounds like that guy had been messing with Foster-Cordina for a minute, right? Because he said you come here every day asking for a fight, right? And it's not even for yourself. You know what I mean? So it sounds like him and the guy that he was talking to got some sort of history. He said we still want that fight, right? You know what I mean? So it sounds like they got some sort of history. Right. Foster-Cordina, I respect this game, right? But he can't be out here, you know what I mean, trying to infer that, you just want to fight for the money. They all want to fight for money. It's prize fight. You know what I mean? He said, why you care about the fight so much? Looking at it like, right, why you want to see me get in there and fight? He said, whenever fans started playing pressure bitch ass fighters, I always want to call them broke. Tate, right. That's crazy. Tate, that sound like I don't want to fight talk right there, don't it? That sound like I don't want to fight talk right there, don't it? It's crazy, right? But I digress, my bad. I digress. Big Tony, what's good, Big Tony? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Big Tony. Glad you can make it, bro. If y'all could, hit that thumbs up for your boy when you roll on in. Shout out my guy, Big Tony. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Big Tony. Shade Girl, what's good, Shade Girl? Glad you can make it, Shade Girl. War Eagle is in the building. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. She said, what he do? Shakur Foster has been wanting these fights. Yeah, he has been. Shakur Foster been wanting to smoke with everybody. Shakur Foster was even barking up that Shakur Stevenson tree, right? If I know no better, and I almost did it a couple times, right? I did make an EP about them fighting one another, right? But if I ain't know no better, I almost made an EP about, Shakur Foster kind of tiptoeing. Shakur Stevenson kind of tiptoeing Shakur Foster a little bit, right? But I didn't want to get this started. I didn't want to push, no narrative or nothing like that, right? But I thought Shakur Foster could have competed with anybody in the division, right? Competed with anybody, include Shakur Stevenson, right? But fact, Shade Girl, Shakur Foster has been wanting these fights, you know what I mean, for the duration. Let me drop the hammer one time for my girl Shay. Girl, appreciate you sliding through this thing, Queen. When nobody, when nobody was calling out Shakur in the WBC, right? Shakur Foster was the one stating that, hey, I've been the silver champion for 2 years, and Shakur been the WBC champion. What's up? What's up with my title shot? Shakur was pushing for a title shot back when he was the WBC silver champion, and Shakur Stevenson was the regular WBC champion, right? So Shakur Foster track record ain't never been, you know what I mean, to duck smoke, right? So I don't think he'll veer from his track record, you know what I mean, for Joe Cordina, right? Especially not after what he just did, especially with not after what he just did, you know what I mean, to Ray Vargas. So I say this, I ain't gonna say Joe Cordina dunking or nothing like that, but it's looking real suspect. You know what I mean? It's looking kind of suspect, you know what I mean, for him, especially with how it's looking on Twitter, right? You got Shakur Foster being real transparent with everything. You know what I mean? But I got more respect for Joe Cordina, the game, right, than to assume that he'll duck anybody, right? Because because Joe Cordina hasn't showed me, you know, anything to where I'm gonna right off the bat just jump on the train. Oh yeah, he'll duck, right? He hasn't showed me nothing like that. I will say he is being kind of hesitant to take this, you know, Shakur Foster fight, right? Shakur Foster said he been on vacation for a month. Shakur Foster want this smoke, right? But I digress. Jason, what's good? Shout out my guy Pablo Escobar. What's good, Brody? Appreciate you sliding through. I don't know if I dropped the hammer for you or not, but I'm gonna drop it again if I didn't. Shout out my guy Pablo. My bad, y'all. I'm tripping, y'all. I'm tripping. My bad, y'all. My bad. I'm tripping, y'all. Jason, what's good, Jason? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. My guy Jason said Shaq want all the smoke. He wanted Shakur years ago, right? He was one of the few people mentioning that Shakur Stevenson name, right? When nobody was. Or Shakur Foster or from Texas, right? He been with the shits. A lot of people don't know his background. Like this is one of them dudes that coming out of the Olympics, right? He was one of them guys. Going into the Olympics, he was one of them guys. He chose to go pro early because his background, where he from, you know, where he from in Texas, you know, it was hard for him. So he went pro early to get that bread, to get that bag, to get some money coming in, to get some money generating in, right? He had 1 foot in the game and 1 foot out the game, which is what led to a couple of those losses early. But, you know, since he's been fully dedicated to the game, he ain't took a loss in about, you know, 19 fights, 18 fights or something like that, right? He on about a 17 fight, you know. His fight win streak is over 15 right now. It's up there pretty high, more closer to 20 than not 20, right? Like 16, 17 fight win streak since he's been all the way locked in. This dude is a problem, right? So I understand the skepticism, right? I understand the skepticism, right, Teddy? I'm bullshitting, Teddy. You know what I mean? I understand the skepticism. Shout out my guy Jason, man. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Jason. Glad you can make it, brother. Nah, DP. I ain't say Shakur ducking. I ain't say Shakur ducking. I ain't say Shakur ducking because Shakur had to move up. But I'm saying though, it's people who try to infer that Devin ducking Shakur because he moving up, right? When if we go do that, I really could say that Shakur duck Shakur Foster, right? But I don't go down that road because I don't feel that way, right? Because if you're ready to move up, move up. Don't hurt yourself by staying down at a division. Don't hurt yourself by being, you know what I mean, by weight running yourself and nothing like that. If you feel like you need to move up, move up. You know what I mean? He said, yes, Shakur should have took that fight. I think he wins, and it would have been a great name on his resume. Fact. You know what I mean? But I do think this 130-pound division, hold on, y'all, because I can't see my time. Y'all don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. I can't see my time. Yo, okay, I'm back. I still can't see my time, but anyway, I digress, right? But right now, I'm feeling like this 130-pound division, right? This division is O'Shaq and Foster's to have. And let's really think about who down there, right? We got O'Shaq and Foster, great champion. Joe Cordina, great champion. A lot of people forget Hector Garcia is a champion at the 130-pound division. Tank fought. I still can't see that jump, Pablo. I still can't see it, but I digress. Tank fought Hector Garcia at the 135-pound division. Hector Garcia is not naturally a 135-pounder. So Hector Garcia never lost his belt. People forget Chris Colbert was the 130-pound WBA champion, right? Their fight took place at 130 pounds. Naturally, Hector Garcia is 130. So Hector Garcia is still a champ at the 130-pound division. So you got Cordina, you got Foster, and you got the forgotten man in Hector Garcia, right down there at the 130-pound division. So you got three formidable champs. You know what I mean? Right there. And that fourth champion is who is that fourth champion at 130 is Cordina Garcia, Foster. It's at the tip of my tongue, y'all. Damn it. But you got no, it's who's that fourth champ at 130, y'all? Yeah, his name blow me right now, right? But you got hella champs, you know what I mean? You got hella, matter of fact, let's go to it. Fuck it. I'm going to it. Emmanuel Navarrete just got the belt. Navarrete, that's what I couldn't think of. Navarrete. It's Navarrete. Prize fighter was good. Navarrete, right? You got Navarrete, you got Joe Cordina, you got Hector Garcia, and you got O'Shaq and Foster. It's too many. Ramirez at 140, Pablo. Robisi will have to fight Navarrete for the WBO. That's who got the WBO. Joe Cordina got the IBF. Navarrete got the WBO. Joe Cordina got the IBF. Navarrete got the WBO. O'Shaq and Foster got the WBC. And Hector Garcia got the WBA, right? So it's plenty fights. Now it's all coming back to me. It's making sense. It's plenty fights down there to be had. You know what I mean? Yep. Robisi will have to fight Navarrete to get the real belt. Robisi is like the Intercontinental champion. Robisi Ramirez. He like the Intercontinental champion. Right? My bad. You talking about Ramirez, not I'll let you talk about Robisi Ramirez. Robisi Ramirez, yeah. He the Intercontinental WBO champion. Navarrete is the WBO champion, right? So you got 4 big-time champions down there, right? Like, it's time for them to start mixing it up. Now, I don't care if it's another champion. Eddie Hearn is the one that got Joe Cordina in this situation. Eddie Hearn is the one that opened his mouth and said that he feel like Joe Cordina beats O'Shaq and Foster easily. And if your promoters out here talking like that, you can't blame O'Shaq and Foster for coming out and saying, well, if you think he beats me easily, prove it. I got a belt. He got a belt. I'm a free agent. We could do it. You know what I mean? Shout out my guy, Prize Fighter. What's good, Prize Fighter? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Prize Fighter. Glad you can make it, King. Glad you can make it. Let me drop the hammer one time for my boy, Prize Fighter. StreamYard, you know, playing with your boy. I've been in here, but we roll. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Prize Fighter. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Yep. Navarrete just beat dog, baby. So, man, we got more than enough good champions, right? We got 4 guys, right? Highly talented guys, 4 guys. And I think O'Shaq and Foster is the cream of the crop of this division. But, you know, that's just what I think. You know, that's not a foregone fact until one of these guys proves it. You know what I mean? O'Shaq and Foster looked great in his fight against Ray Vargas. He showed me something. He surprised me. Joe Cordina, I've always been impressed with, right? I've always been impressed with, actually, ever since their Ogawa knockout, right? Because I actually bet against Joe Cordina that night. I picked Ogawa to win this fight, and Joe Cordina went out there and he put Ogawa to bed, right? The moments like that, you will never forget. So this isn't normally the behavior from Joe Cordina, right? But I tell you this, if he come out and he fight anybody other than Shakur Foster for any other reason, I don't care if it's another champion. I don't care if it's goddamn Lomachenko, right? With how greasy y'all talking, with how greasy your promoter talking, with the you got random people on the internet asking you for this fight, and you shooting off your top, you feeling salty because this man asking you about a fight that he want to see. And again, this happened on Twitter, right? If y'all in here and y'all ain't seen the tweets, I'd be glad to show them to y'all again because the tweets is fucking hilarious, right? Like these guys got real beef. You got Foster coming out calling him scary ass, you know what I mean, scary ass boy. Then you got Joe Cordina calling him a little bitch, right? So these guys, it's real emotions there. It's like real feelings there. So I think that's good for boxing, right? But it's only good for boxing if the fights actually happen. This ain't no fight that you got to sit down there and marinate and all that and nothing like that. This ain't nothing you got to sit down there and marinate or nothing like that, right? This ain't a fight you got to sit down there and marinate nothing like that, right? Because this fight champion versus champion. This fight champion versus champion. Neither of these guys at 130 are big enough stars to where, you know what I mean, you say, oh, let's let this fight marinate. True enough, the star is going to come from the unification of the 130-pound division, right? I don't know if y'all noticed, but the hot thing in boxing right now is undisputed, baby. In my Jamel Charlo voice, undisputed, baby. I'm undisputed, baby. The hot thing in boxing right now is undisputed. People want to see unification. People want to see belts. You know what I mean? We can't count your pockets. We don't care about that. We want to see you get in the ring. No, Joe Cordina. True enough, you telling us you're on vacation. We really don't care about that, right? And then you got Shakur Foster coming out, putting you on blast for that. You said at the top of the week, you told him he was on vacation. Shakur Foster said you've been on vacation for a month. You know what I mean? He said his people have reached out to your people a multitude of times. And, you know, Joe Cordina people ain't, responded. So we go stay tuned on that Shakur Foster, Joe Cordina thing, right? We go segue this thing into Shakur Stevenson and Jermaine Ortiz. I'm finna bring this camera up and say we finna fight this bun up. We go segue this thing into Shakur Stevenson and Jermaine Ortiz, right? So speaking of the 135, pound division, I mentioned Lomachenko as a joke in there, right? Devin Haney and Vasil Lomachenko just had a great fight, right? I thought it was an excellent fight. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis just had, a great fight, right? Entertaining fight. The gate did great. The pay-per-view did great. Vasil Lomachenko and Devin Haney, did great for it to be Devin Haney's, first pay-per-view, right? So 135, the stars of 135, Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and let's just be frank, Shakur Stevenson. Y'all saw I did there. Shout out Frank Martin, right? But the stars of 135, right? Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. You got Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia, making a splash. You got Devin Haney fighting Vasil Lomachenko, making his splash, right? And they kind of got everybody looking around, right? What Shakur gonna do? What move Shakur gonna make? What Shakur gonna do next, right? So they got us opponent hunting for Shakur Stevenson. Well, what fight will we see Shakur Stevenson in? That'll give him his hardest test. That'll make the most noise, right? He can't fight Devin Haney, right? Devin Haney is probably about to move up, right? Fight Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez winner, right? Can't fight Gervonta Tank Davis right now. Gervonta Tank Davis is going through his situation, right? In about 90 days, he got the house arrest thing type deal, right? He's going through the situation. So in the meantime, in between time, what is Shakur Stevenson go do, right? You can't keep calling out Devin Haney and Tank Davis because after a while it's gonna sound like clout chasing, right? When it's already understood that they probably about to go, different directions, right? And then we can get into the whole thing where Devin Haney could stay down there and fight him, right? And then we can get into the same thing about the division switch. Well, he switched division to Duck. Shakur. Well, Shakur switched divisions to duck or Shakur Foster, right? If you want to go down there. Or get Shakur Stevenson just switch division because it was time for him to leave that division. Now, the timing of it looked funny. You left the division right when you would have to fight Shakur Foster, right? Just like you could say the timing looked funny. Devin left the division right when he was going to have to fight Shakur Stevenson, even though he really wasn't going to have to fight Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson is not the mandatory. He actually would have been the mandatory if he didn't lose his belt on the scales. So a lot of Shakur Stevenson problems are Shakur Stevenson he brought a lot of his problems onto himself, this Shakur Stevenson, right? But I digress. That ain't what I'm here for, right? So the pressure is kind of on Shakur Stevenson, right? What he want to do now, he want to fight. You can't keep saying, Devin Haney name because we know that he about to lead the division. You can't say Tank name right now because Tank Davis, got to go through his situation, right? So you got Lomachenko on the table, right? Who name that kept coming out. Well, Shakur versus Lomachenko, let's see that fight. Some people feel like Lomachenko, be deaf. Shakur being one of the people that feel like that, right? You feel like he beat him, then you fight Lomachenko. So that's a you and a Bob Aaron thing, right? Also, a guy that's been calling you out, Jermaine Ortiz, has been calling Shakur Stevenson. Now, Jermaine Ortiz said a while back that he see himself fighting Shakur Stevenson in a good fight. He said more recently than that he see himself being able to beat Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? If they ever fought. Now, I'm guessing that word got back around to Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson had some choice words to say about Jermaine Ortiz and his ability and what he think about, a fight with Jermaine Ortiz. What Shakur Stevenson had to say was he don't really, he said he felt like Jermaine Ortiz is basically basic, right? He said he felt like he basic and he felt like that he'll beat the hell out of Jermaine Ortiz. He straight up said that. He said, I beat the hell out of he said, I beat the hell out of Jermaine Ortiz, right? 88 Sports Talk. What's good, 88? I'm about to bring this camera. We about to get high. He said Loma took Shakur's spot. He should be mad. Facts. He took his spot. And the funny part is, Loma was ranked. Shout out my guy, 88 Sports Talk. What's good, 88? Let me drop the helmet for my guy. The funny part is Loma was ranked after Shakur Stevenson before he lost. Loma lost the fight and he jumped Shakur Stevenson, right? And Shakur Stevenson, let that sink in. Loma lost the fight and he jumped Shakur Stevenson. And I think probably because Shakur Stevenson was an advocate for, the guy that jumped him. But I digress. Shout out my guy, 88 Sports Talk, right? So Shakur Stevenson, right, in the meantime, between time, right, he's not ranked as a mandatory to even get a title shot next. So he's going to have to take a fight, right, in between. Now, a guy that called him out and the guy that he really hadn't been, speaking on. I made an EP not too long ago about Jermaine Ortiz calling Shakur out, right? And I said, this will be the perfect fight for him. Baby, I said, this will be the perfect fight for Shakur Stevenson right now, given that, the other fights are tied up. And Shakur Stevenson's energy towards Jermaine Ortiz, at least to me, right? At least just in my opinion, it hasn't been the same like it's been towards guys who I think that he really won't be able to fight, like Tank and Devin Haney. Move. I don't think I don't think fights with Tank and Devin Haney are plausible right now. So I do kind of feel like what Bill Haney said, you kind of clout chasing right now in the aspect of fighting. Bang! In the aspect of fighting, sit down. In the aspect of fighting Devin Haney or Javante, sit down. Or Javante Tank Davis. Now, Jermaine Ortiz had been barking, sit down. Jermaine Ortiz had been barking up this Shakur Stevenson tree for a second. Shakur Stevenson hadn't really had that same energy, for Jermaine Ortiz. But Shakur Stevenson finally came out and said something. And oh boy, did he have something to say. He said, that's crazy. When you think about it, he literally lost and stayed number one. Now, 88 Sports Talk, Lomachenko wasn't even number one before he lost. Shakur Stevenson was ranked number one in the WBC. Lomachenko was ranked as the number one 135-pounder, but in the WBC, Shakur Stevenson was ranked number one, right? That's what Shakur Stevenson was talking about before the fight. Oh, I'm the mandatory. I got to Devin Haney fight because I'm the mandatory. I'm ranked number one. I'm next in line. That's what Shakur Stevenson was pushing. That's why he had so much confidence, right, in that ring. And after the fight, said that you not gonna, not for long, because he was ranked number 1 in the WBC. That was gonna be his shining ticket, right? That WBC mandatory. But immediately after the fight, Lomachenko lost, and the WBC gave Lomachenko number 1 in the sanctioning body. So now Shakur Stevenson don't even get that mandatory tip that he was claiming, he was throwing around, trying to chase Devin Haney with. Well, I'm the mandatory. I'm next because I'm the mandatory, right? When Devin Haney had already said previously that he's probably going to move up. Devin Haney was saying he probably going to move up for the last 2 fights. You know what I mean? So I don't know why people acting like he's just surprised that he moving up, right? But what Shakur was banking on was, the WBC spot, which he lost after Lomachenko lost his fight. So Lomachenko lost the fight, and he jumped Shakur Stevenson in the WBC. And I think Shakur Stevenson got a lot to do with that by his tone and what he was saying after the fight. By his tone and what he was saying after the Devin Haney and Lomachenko fight. He basically said he feel like Loma won. He feel like the best welterweights is him and Lomachenko. He basically put Lomachenko in himself by his speech. He was so focused on putting Devin Haney down and putting himself over Devin Haney that he put Lomachenko over him, and the people heard him, and they put Lomachenko over him because they can't put Lomachenko over Devin Haney because Devin Haney just beat Lomachenko. But they can put Lomachenko over you. And Shakur Stevenson's energy has been, a little different toward that situation since all that. It's like he came back to his senses, right? He said, Shakur Stevenson, bro, you got to approach it this way before you work. But in the meantime, because, Bob Arum probably not going to give him Lomachenko next, right? In the meantime, between time, a fight where I feel like Shakur can test himself, another young prime guy in his athlete, Jermaine Ortiz, and a guy that actually wants to fight, Shakur Stevenson, and a guy that's actually been inside of the ring with somebody that Lomachenko, and somebody that's actually been inside the ring with somebody that Shakur Stevenson has on his radar in Lomachenko. You can get yourself a common opponent. Lomachenko at 135. Devin Haney probably about to move up. Lomachenko is going to be somebody that you probably is going to have to fight, probably for one of those belts, probably for the WBC vacant belt, if not for a unification fight at some point, right? So Jermaine Ortiz, right, don't like you. You clearly seem not to like Jermaine Ortiz, right? Neither one of y'all have a fight. Both of y'all are over at top rank. He's gotten a Lomachenko fight. The fight that you wanted. Common opponent, a measuring stick. Common opponent, a measuring stick against one of the best fighters in the division, Lomachenko, right? Why not fight Jermaine Ortiz? I think that'll make for an excellent fight, an entertaining fight as well. That'll be a highly athletic fight. You know what I mean? Both guys are around the same age. Some people feel like Jermaine Ortiz beat Lomachenko, right? Everybody want to go in the hoopla about Devin Haney and Lomachenko. Some people feel like Ortiz beat Lomachenko. So there is that. So do those people feel like that Jermaine Ortiz is the number 135 pounder? I'm saying all that to say Jermaine Ortiz and Shakur Stevenson fight make a whole lot of sense, right? But I digress. It isn't every day that Shakur Stevenson finds his name on the tip of somebody's tongue. There is no reason. The reason is a simple one. He's really, really good. Okay. It isn't every day that Shakur Stevenson finds his name on the tip of someone's tongue. The reason is simply one. He's really, really good. No matter who stood across the ring from him, the former Olympic silver medalist has effortlessly carved up his competition. But while he dominates from 126 to now 135, Jermaine Ortiz isn't unnerved over the possibility of facing him. In fact, if the decision were solely up to the 26-year-old Jermaine Ortiz, he would gladly take on Shakur Stevenson in his next fight. Far from the question, Shakur Stevenson has mostly kept his thoughts to himself. However, while he has refrained from engaging Ortiz in the war of words, facts. I said the same thing. Like he hasn't made much of a reference towards Jermaine Ortiz. You know what I mean? He's out saying, StreamYard kicked me out, but my minutes finally back up here though. But StreamYard kicked me out. But I digress, right? What part y'all stop it? I don't know what part y'all stop it, but I'm gonna start over. Let me see, can y'all hear me? My minutes finally back up here though. But StreamYard kicked me out, but I digress, right? What part y'all stop it? All right, but I don't know what part y'all stop it, right? But I'm gonna keep it rolling. I'm just gonna start over. It isn't every day that Shakur Stevenson finds his name on the tip of someone's tongue. The reason is a simple one. He's really, really good. No matter who stood across ringside from the former Olympic silver medalist, he's effortlessly carved up the competition. But while he's dominated from 126 to now 135, Jermaine Ortiz isn't unnerved over the possibility of facing him. In fact, if the decision were solely up to Jermaine Ortiz, the 26-year-old would gladly take on Shakur Stevenson next. Far from loquacious, Shakur Stevenson has mostly kept his thoughts to himself. However, while he has refrained from engaging Ortiz in the war of words, Shakur did admit that he would love the opportunity to shut. So basically, I said Shakur Stevenson ain't really had many words to say to Jermaine Ortiz and what Jermaine Ortiz had to say. Shakur Stevenson ain't really had much to say in return, right? You know what I mean? Now, I ain't going to say that Shakur Stevenson been ducking him, but Jermaine Ortiz isn't the name that Shakur Stevenson been calling. And Jermaine Ortiz has been calling Shakur Stevenson's name, right? I actually said I would rather see him fight, you know what I mean, Jermaine Ortiz than some of the other guys that he was fighting. The Yoshini dude, right? I would have rather seen him fight, you know what I mean, Jermaine Ortiz. But I digress. But Shakur Stevenson finally, said something back to him. But they basically just said the same thing that I said. That Shakur Stevenson ain't really said Jermaine Ortiz's name much. Shout out my guy, Desmond Hickman. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, Debo. Glad you can make it. I see you in the building. Hold on, let me slide through you. I see you slid in the building. You said something about Shields. I saw that Shields come in. Yeah, he said, I seen the recap of Clarissa Shields' last fight, and she definitely will be getting support. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, dude. I'm glad you can make it. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Let me get a sip of that tea. Right? Yeah, man. She had a nice turnout. Shout out Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields did $1 million plus in gate, right? In the gate revenue, $1 million plus in gate revenue total. There's ticket sale, there's concession, drinks, all that good stuff. Clarissa Shields broke $1 million, you know what I mean, in the hometown fight. That means there's gonna be more and more and more to come. You know what I mean? All that Clarissa Shields don't sell. Clarissa Shields don't got knockout power, all that shit right there. She putting that shit to bed, man. Don't believe in the media. Don't believe in the hype. Believe in what you see. Believe in your own sight. You know what I mean? They could try to overlook it. They try to overlook all of us. They try to overlook all of us, but after a while, you just can't overlook what's right in your face. You know what I mean? And after her being able to generate that $1 million, you better believe people gonna see that, and somebody go invest in her somewhere. You know what I mean? Grail, what's good, Grail? Appreciate you sliding through. We in this thing having us a 135 conversation. I'm just hitting on what my boy Debo had to say about, Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields did $1 million plus in gate revenue. That's a successful, you know what I mean? That's a successful show. I dropped the hammer for my boy Grill. My bad, y'all. My bad. I dropped the hammer for my boy Grill. But yeah, that's a successful show put on by the GOAT. You know what I mean? $1 million plus. I was just what my boy Desmond had to say. But Shakur Stevenson, he finally had something to say about Jermaine Ortiz, right? Jermaine Ortiz. Now I don't know whether he just been trying to promote himself, right, or he really want that smoke. But Jermaine Ortiz has most definitely been talking like he really want that smoke ever since the Lomachenko fight. And I do think Jermaine Ortiz, showed well for himself in that Lomachenko fight, right? So maybe he, maybe he feeling confident in his ability right now, and he feeling like, he ready to take on the top guys. So shout out Jermaine Ortiz, but he has been barking up the Shakur Stevenson tree for a minute, and Shakur Stevenson really ain't been saying too much back to Jermaine Ortiz, right? But Shakur Stevenson finally said something back, right? And I quote, Shakur Stevenson said, Jermaine Ortiz, he talked real crazy. I will put him in his place. Ortiz, in all likelihood, will push for a Shakur Stevenson showdown sooner rather than later. We last seen the Puerto Rican native may witness his undefeated record fall, but he took pride in watching his stock rise on October 20. So basically, Shakur Stevenson said, Jermaine Ortiz, he been talking real crazy. I will put him in his place. And now they filling it in with more stuff. So I digress. On October 29th, the 26-year-old fought a close and technical battle with Vasyl Lomachenko. Although that he believed he did just enough to eke out the victory, Ortiz was forced to deal with the sting of his first defeat. Ortiz's intellect and overall skills were on full display, forcing the rest of the lightweight division to take notice. Stevenson, however, isn't overly impressed with that Ortiz 16-1 AKOs brings to the table. While he's had just one bout to get comfortable at the 135-pound division, Stevenson proved that competing at his highest level at 135 pounds won't be much of an issue. Just a few short months ago, the former unified 130-pound champ easily took care of business against Suchiro Yoshino, stopping the French contender in the 6th round. On paper, Ortiz would ostensibly be the more difficult test. Nevertheless, Shakur Stevenson wholeheartedly believes that a matchup between himself and Ortiz will be one-way traffic. This is what Shakur Stevenson had to say in regards to Jermaine Ortiz. He said, I would definitely be willing to smoke Jermaine Ortiz. I will beat the fuck out of him. I'm going to beat him so bad, he don't understand what he walking himself into. So basically, Shakur Stevenson just let the cat out the bag. Now, he know he can't go out the Devin DP. Though what I was saying, when Bill Haney was saying that, that's kind of a clout chase for y'all to keep saying his name, knowing that he can't fight him. You know what I mean? That's what Bill was saying. Everybody hopped on Bill. And what Bill was talking about, that's what Bill was saying, like, it's not in the cards for you to fight him. So why y'all keep talking about fighting Devin? He never could fight Devin. Though what I was saying, it was always other plans, right? But in the meantime, though, DP, this is the best fight for him. You know what I mean? I think this is the best fight for him. You know what I mean? This fight makes the most sense. This fight is more plausible, right? You know what I mean? And I think Shakur just let the cat out the bag, because listen to this. Listen to this fight. Listen to what Shakur said. He said, I would definitely be willing to smoke Jermaine Ortiz. I will beat the fuck out of him. I'm going to beat him so bad. He don't understand what he talking himself into, right? He said, I'm going to beat him so bad. He don't understand what he talking himself into. They kind of sound like that they are already in the works of making this fight. And if they are, that's perfect, right? Common opponent, right? You want to fight Lomachenko. He fought Lomachenko. You've been calling Devin Haney name, right? Devin Haney fought Lomachenko. You line yourself up. You fight fighters that Lomachenko fought, right? Or you fight fighters relative to Devin Haney, right? The common opponent is Lomachenko. Jermaine Ortiz only got that one loss to Lomachenko, right? Some people feel like he beat Lomachenko. Some people want to feel like Lomachenko beat Devin. So if you can feel like one, you can feel like the other. That means Jermaine Ortiz will be a top opponent. So I say go for it, Shakur. You know what I mean? I say go for it. DP Rocker said, yes, I knew that, but his fans didn't want to believe there was a publicity stunt, him climbing in the ring with that Rico from Nebraska look. You know what I mean? Shout out my guy, DP Rocker. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, right? But the more plausible fight is Shakur versus Jermaine Ortiz, right? But let me finish this thing out for y'all. It said both Stevenson and Ortiz are promoted by Top Rank, which will make his Top Rank Both Stevenson and Ortiz are promoted by Top Rank. Ortiz will make his Top Rank debut this Saturday night in New York City as part of the undercard Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez showdown at the Theater, at the Hulu Theater in Madison Square Garden. Oh, okay. So Ortiz got to fight this Saturday, right? So maybe after this fight this Saturday, we get that, that announcement for Shakur Stevenson, right? So Jermaine Ortiz fight this Saturday. Jermaine Ortiz, this part of the Puerto Rican holiday, right? So Jermaine Ortiz gonna be on there. And Lopez ain't Puerto Rican though, but Xander Zayas gonna be in that thing too. So I see what they doing. Okay, so he got to fight this Saturday, Jermaine Ortiz. So Jermaine Ortiz got to handle business this Saturday. So he got to fight this Saturday on the Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor card. Y'all check out my Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor fight breakdown and prediction, right? I got Josh Taylor unanimous decision over Teofimo Lopez. I don't think Teo go get stopped, right? I think Teo go cause him some problems early, but I think Josh eventually he go work on Teo. His boxing ability just gonna be too much for him. He go eventually beat on him. Not knock him out, but he go eventually beat on him. So y'all go check that thing out. But from what I just read, right, it sounds like that Shakur Stevenson and Jermaine Ortiz is next, right? From what Shakur is saying, it sounds like that fight probably next. He said he just don't know. He said, I'm going to beat the F out of him. He said he don't know what he walking himself into. And that last comment, it was another comment. He said, what was it? He said, I'm going to beat him so bad. He said, I'm going to beat him so bad. He said, I'm going to. Not I would beat him so bad. He said, I'm going to beat him so bad. He don't understand what he talking himself into. So it sounds like they may already be planning that fight next. You know what I mean? Ortiz has said right after the Lomachenko fight, right, that he want to fight the best. He feel like he wanted the best. I tell you this, if Jermaine Ortiz is a live opponent, right? Yo, I got 11 people in the building. I got 27 likes. Anybody in the building right now that ain't hit the thumbs up, y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy, right? Y'all get your boy to that 30 piece. If anybody ain't hit the like, y'all hit that thumbs up. And when you do, let me know who you is so I can thank you personally, right? But Jermaine Ortiz, right? Shout out that one person that just hit that like button. I wish I knew who you were so I could thank you personally. I see one of y'all did hit that thumbs up because now I got 27. Now I need 2 more y'all to give me 30, right? But Jermaine Ortiz is a live dog in this fight, right? Now I am favoring Shakur Stevenson, right? First things first, Jermaine Ortiz got to handle business Saturday, right? But Jermaine Ortiz versus Shakur Stevenson, that's a real dog. Okay, DP. Jermaine Ortiz is a real dog. You know what I mean? Goddamn, DP, you ain't hit the like button when you came in. It be your own people. Nah. I'm fucking with you, bro. I'm fucking with you, DP. I'm fucking with you. Right? Jermaine Ortiz is a live dog. You know what I mean? Shout out my guy, Greg. He said, I hit the like button for my G one time and support the grind. Appreciate you. Shout out my guy, Greg. Let me drop the flames for the game one time, man. Appreciate you, man. Support the grind. By the gang, I mean y'all. Right? But I digress. Now, Jermaine Ortiz is a live dog in that fight, right? Shakur Stevenson ain't about to go in there and just walk through him. I know Shakur Stevenson got that confidence and whatnot, right? But I don't believe that Shakur Stevenson about to go in there and walk through Jermaine Ortiz. I will say this, though. I saw Jermaine Ortiz look a little funny, right? Hopefully this fight for Jermaine Ortiz is a 12-rounder or at least a 10-rounder. Jermaine Ortiz went straight from 8-rounders to 12-rounders versus Lomachenko, right? That's a big jump in opponent and in rounds. And he kind of gassed out at the end of that fight, which allowed Lomachenko really to win that fight. You know what I mean? Because if it was an 8-round fight, Ortiz would have won, right? But he gassed out toward the end, which allowed Lomachenko to put the beats on him, close the gap, and win the fight. He can't have that gas out problem against Shakur Stevenson. I'm going to tell you why. Because as to where you could gas out with Lomachenko, you can survive those 12 rounds getting punched on to make it to the end, right? We just saw David Haney, get punched on for about 2 rounds, then win the 12, right? So where you can survive that with Lomachenko, Jermaine, you're not gonna be able to do that with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson go put you all the way down. He go put you all the way out. Now Devin got tired to a different degree than you. You got tired. You never been in the 12 round degree before. Devin had gained a comfortable lead, right? Lomachenko was starting to capitalize on him, and Devin turned it on in the 12th. You never turned it back on in the 12th. When you got tired, you went. There was no rejuvenation. There was no second win. You got tired and you went, right? And I gotta think that has a lot to do with your inexperience. Shakur Stevenson has about the same amount of fights as you, right? But he's a lot more experienced than you in the big moment, right? A lot more experience than you in 12 rounds. If Jermaine Ortiz gets tired like he did against Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson is going to stop him, right? But if Jermaine Ortiz comes on his A game, then it's going to be a fight for Shakur Stevenson. He's not going to be able to walk through Jermaine Ortiz, right? He ain't just going to walk through Jermaine Ortiz if Jermaine Ortiz is on his A game. But if Jermaine Ortiz let that late round gas tank issue thing creep up on him, shout out to that one person that just smashed that like button. I wish I knew who you was so I could thank you personally. Appreciate you sliding through. We in this thing having a 130 and a 135 pound conversation, right? Shakur Foster and Joe Cordina went at it on Twitter today about making a unification fight happen. Shakur Stevenson said he feel like Joe Cordina being scared or don't want that smoke. Joe Cordina said, man, I'm on vacation. As soon as I get back in the office, we go sort it out, right? So they got a spat going on Twitter. And also, Shakur Stevenson finally pops back at Jermaine Ortiz, which is what we talking about right now, right? Shakur Stevenson finally pops back at Jermaine Ortiz. And to me, right, from what I heard, it kind of sounds like, man, that fight already in the works. There is some relevance to that fight. Because Shakur Stevenson said, I'm going to beat his ass. And he said he don't know what he talking himself into. So it sounds like it might be some motion to that thing going on. And if it is, I like that opponent for Shakur Stevenson. I like Shakur Stevenson, right, and Jermaine Ortiz having their back and forth, having their spats a lot more than I like this imaginary fight between Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, or Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Tank Davis. And the crazy part is, Bob Arum already shut down a fight with Tank and Shakur, right? Devin Haney is probably going to 140, so him and Shakur can't fight, right? And for my people, well, Devin Haney ducking, Shakur because he moving up. Well, Devin Haney stated about 2 fights ago that he probably was going to move up, right? So that's not true. And second of all, if you saying that, I got an argument that Shakur Stevenson ducked Shakur Foster because he left 130 when he left 130 and lost his belts when Shakur Foster was next up in line for his belt, right? But I digress. I ain't gonna hold y'all in this thing too long. Just wanted to give y'all that rundown real quick. I appreciate everybody sliding through. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. I got 29 likes. Y'all get your boy to 30. If you're in the building, you ain't hit that thumbs up. Hit that. Actually, I might kick it with y'all 5 more minutes. We can run this thing 5 more minutes, right? We can run this thing 5 more minutes. But basically, right, what I'm saying is I like this for Shakur, right? I like where Shakur head is at. My shit just froze up. My stream y'all just froze. Can y'all hear me still? I don't know if y'all hear me, but I like this for Shakur, right? I like Shakur, going this direction. This fight is a lot more plausible, right, than the other fights. You know what I mean? When Bill Haney say when Bill Haney say it's a clout chase, he said keep cooking. Been listening while working on the house. Shout out my bro. This jump froze up, bro. Hold on, that's crazy. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? I don't know what stream y'all got going on. Everyone said keep cooking. Everyone said keep cooking. Keep cooking, living by working in the house. They go, so I still hear you. That junk had froze up. Like it froze up on my end. Like StreamYard froze. I don't know what they got going on there. You know what I mean? But they sent my video yellow though. I don't appreciate that. They sent my video yellow. I hit the request on it, right? But we can keep cooking though. I don't got too much going right now. It is another show that I want to talk about, right? That I got up in the tuck. I got another conversation up in the tuck. You know what I mean? I got another conversation that I got coming up in the tuck, right? But if y'all want to go in, we could go in. I want to at least go to a dub 20. But I got one more, right? Y'all favorite fighter might have a mandatory coming up, right? And then if you look at the rankings, right? His mandatory is going to be Anthony Joshua. Whether you gonna take it out by y'all favorite fighter, I mean Tyson Fury, right? So that's the one I got in the clip. I got a good hour on it. I know I got a good hour on there, right? So that's the one I got in the clip. Actually, man, I'm gonna get it back. I ain't gonna hold y'all in this thing too long. I'll come back. I'm gonna come back because it's Monday. I actually got another prediction to do. I got an AB prediction at 1. AB fighting Bill Hutchinson, right? We gonna come talk about that type deal. But I ain't gonna hold y'all up too long on this. And I think I held y'all long enough on this one, man. Skin the Hardaway certainty. This ain't the past. This ain't the future. But it's the present. This how we rocking. And I'm out. Look, y'all tell a friend. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscription button for your boy. Really appreciate you sliding through.